full name is Daniel Ricciardo. My ultimate goal in life is to be a Formula One world champion.
Since I was a kid, I loved this sport.
You've had one of the more challenging paths coming all the way from Perth.
Breaking news, Daniel Ricciardo is going to be the driver for Red Bull.
For sure it was a gamble, but we decided to back youth.
Well, my teammate will be Sebastian Vettel.
Sebastian is the best in the business at the moment, so it's going to be a big challenge for him.
Ricciardo ahead of Sebastian Vettel.
It's Daniel Ricciardo for Australia, for Red Bull.
I don't think anyone's smile could be bigger.
You were at Red Bull, you were having a really successful season, and then you decided to take a chance and move.
McLaren was the place that I wanted to be and I felt was best for me.
The Christian says you left because you're running from a fight with Max.
Dive down the inside, they have crashed!
It wasn't about Max. I'm looking forward to another challenge and getting closer to the world title.
Norris laps Ricciardo.
Ooh, that hurt.
Yeah, not a result I feel good about at all. Hey everyone, wanted to share some news.
Breaking news is that Formula One's Daniel Ricciardo has been dropped by the RB team.
I still know I can do it and believe it's still there in me, that I would hate for this to be the way it ends. West Australia. I grew up there. I've spent every Christmas there. It's a beautiful city. It's still fairly quiet, and I don't know. It turns your personality into a bit of happiness. So my childhood consisted of weekends spent at racetracks because my dad was racing. And, obviously he was at a stage where, his racing career was over. There wasn't a Formula One for him. And me being surrounded by him and his love for the sport, that then got passed down to me, and I was in love with it from a young age.
Even though Daniel grew up surrounded by engines and cars, he still didn't know what he wanted.
Yes, I loved watching Formula One and I had heroes and that, but I wasn't, at 9 years old, I wasn't like, yeah, Dad, I'm going to make it. We're going to do this. It was more just, can you please buy me a go-kart? Because I like driving fast.
With the permission of his mum, Grace, Daniel began racing go-karts when he was 9. It was a family affair. Older sister Michelle, part of his pit crew. Dad Joe, who'd raced cars when he was younger, was his mechanic.
I don't think there's many sports where, the field is so small. You get to the top of something and there's room for so little.
Daniel came from a small town with no ties to the fun world. He was never meant to make it, but he wasn't about to let that stop him.
So that's where I knew I needed to be. I needed to be in Europe. I needed to be there. That's where a lot of the teams, the sponsors are, and ultimately the industry. So
this is Daniel's first home away from home, an apartment in Italy in 2007, paid for by his mum and dad.
My mum.
From Australia to Europe, that was, I think, not easy as a parent to let your son go and do that. And I did it when I was 17, and actually I was still quite a young 17-year-old. I was quite immature. So for my parents to kind of put that trust and that support in me, that was huge.
Moving to Italy was a big step forward, but the distance from his family hit harder than he expected.
More than anything, I loved Perth. I loved being home. I didn't have the travelling bug in me at a young age, so knowing that I would leave home, move to Italy, foreign country, didn't really speak Italian at the time. Being on planes as a lifestyle, I just never thought this would be me. But it just made me sort of more determined to make it.
How much financial pressure is on the family to keep you racing over there?
We maybe could have done another year, but then it's you're starting to cut into a few things. And I wasn't going to obviously let my parents sell anything. Yeah, it was pretty much a make or break season.
That's a lot of pressure for a young man to handle.
With only a year to prove himself, Daniel pushed to the limit and clawed his way to 6th in the Formula Renault 2.0.
I had no podiums that year, but I had a lot of 4th places, and a lot of the time I was, let's say, splitting some of the Red Bull cars and whatever, and I wasn't necessarily in a top team, so I think they just recognised that.
And the result was an offer that both saved and launched his career. In 2008, Red Bull asked him to join their junior program, the breeding ground for future Formula One drivers.
That's where I met Helmut, and that's where it all started. It was the start of 2010, so it was my first season in World Series by Renault. And I was coming into the season, you know, young driver, hot and one of the favourites, and about 2 weeks before the first test. And we only had 2 tests, so it was limited. But basically I had a crash on my mountain bike and fractured my wrist. And I knew I couldn't do the first test, like I could hardly move my hand. So then my phone rings, helmet, what happened? I was like, I really tried, I couldn't. I was like, I'm so sorry. And the next words were, you're an idiot, and hung up. He could have gone and said, you're an F in this and an F in that. That would have been easier, but just like, you're an idiot, and hung up. I was just like, oh. But that's where I started, and that was, it all just got better then.
Daniel had a rough start, but he bounced back, winning 4 races and going into the final round tied for the lead.
Welcome to Barcelona, the grand final of the 3.5 Series by Renault, the last step for many of these drivers towards Formula One. There are 2 men in this race for the championship, Daniel Ricciardo and Michael Aleshin, and with the same amount of points for the last race, which will determine which one of them will become world champion.
He led from the start and held his position, but with just 2 laps to go, everything changed.
But look at this, Aleshin is getting more and more aggressive here by every single corner. Here we go again. Oh, no, he's gone wide. Ricciardo's at the door here. Around the outside goes Aleshin, and he's made it stick. This is unbelievable stuff. The Russian is through.
I did all I could to defend him. I tried closing the door and not letting him pass, and I did it for nearly all the race. And then with not so many laps to go, he was just able to make it stick.
Ricciardo trying everything to hold on to him here, and he's got into a spin. Oh my goodness, we have a champion. He'll finish this race 3rd.
I'm okay. I'm all right. We put up a good fight, and for sure everyone's a little bit heartbroken, which is normal. You know, you come so close and you don't quite get it, but we still had a pretty incredible season, and we showed enough signs that I'm ready for the next step.
He didn't have to wait long for an answer.
Quite a big surprise. I didn't expect to be racing Formula One this year, but yeah, it's a huge opportunity for me, and still a bit of a shock. It came a bit unexpected because it was halfway through that 2011 season, but it was really why I put myself out there, why I moved to Europe, you know, in 2007 and tried to get into the Red Bull program.
Daniel started in a backmarker F1 team, but his strong performance quickly earned him a spot with Red Bull's junior team, Toro Rosso.
I'm Daniel Ricciardo, Toro Rosso Formula One driver.
He stood out from the other junior drivers. What they were fighting for, the ultimate prize, a seat in Red Bull's main Formula One team. One was held by 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel, the other by Australia's Mark Webber. When Mark announced his retirement in June last year, Daniel was on the shortlist to replace him.
We knew he had the speed. You know, he's been one of the fastest drivers we've ever seen in the car. The question for us was, how does he deal with the pressure? How does he deal with the racecraft? We were not short of choices. Almost every driver in the pit lane wanted to be sat in that Red Bull seat.
No one had ever done it from Perth, you know, and let alone there was only X amount of Australian drivers that had made it. So the likelihood, you know, the strike rate was very, very low.
The odds were against him, but Ricciardo believed he would succeed, and he did.
Breaking news! Daniel Ricciardo is going to be the driver for Red Bull for 2014, and he's going to partner Sebastian Vettel.
For sure it was a gamble. I mean, you could have gone for an experienced driver with proven track records and world championships, but you know, we decided to back youth, but of course it was a risk. None of us knew, not even Dan, really, how strong he was going to be.
I feel very, very good. Obviously, it's a lot of excitement running through me right now. So it's great news. You know, something I've worked for, and to hear the news I wanted is great. So yeah, next step in my career now.
Ricciardo was finally on a team that would help him achieve his big dream.
My ultimate goal in life is to be a Formula One world champion.
But at Red Bull, what awaited him was a big obstacle.
Daniel's very quick. We know he's very quick. Sebastian is the best in the business at the moment, and it's very, very tough to be his teammate. So it's going to be a big challenge for him.
Well, my teammate will be Sebastian Vettel, and he has achieved, a hell of a lot in his career. So, to put myself up against him, I think is a great challenge for me, but no better guy to have as my teammate.
It was a wild weekend. I remember all of it very, very vividly.
It's lights out and away we go.
I don't know, it was weird. I was so, and maybe by this point as well, I truly got that belief inside myself, but I was kind of very calm through it all.
Okay, Daniel, you're doing a good job at the moment. Understood.
I'd got to that point, let's say mentally in my head, where I was like, I do belong here. I can do this with a top team, and I can, go up to Seb.
He's doing an excellent job, Daniel Ricciardo. Never finished on the podium before. On course for a second place in his home race.
Ooh. As always, with talent like this, Grand Prix racing has a great future, and it's not just about rich kids.
And then the cool-down lap, I remember going through the last corner of the last lap. Everyone was up, and it was cool. It was cool.
Daniel Ricciardo announced his arrival in style. Daniel came a sensational second before being sensationally disqualified for a minor fuel violation.
When I got to the room, when everyone was there, I got the call from Jonathan Wheatley telling me what I knew was coming, but he confirmed it. So there was a few hugs and whatever, but it was pretty mellow, unfortunately.
Ricciardo was so close to greatness, but it slipped away. Still, he didn't give up. He came back stronger.
There's Vettel just coming round the second turn. Ricciardo ahead of Sebastian Vettel then on the track. Vettel asking for strategy, clever strategy. It's worked in Ricciardo's favour.
I was kind of fourth, fifth through the race, and I think Perez was in third doing well, but all of a sudden my engineers, they got problems, like, come on, push, and if you can get Perez, a win could be on today.
Ricciardo is a lot closer to Sergio Perez coming out of that chicane. There are 5 laps to go, and there goes Daniel Ricciardo on Sergio Perez, moves up into second place, ahead of the Force India, ahead of his teammate Massa. And look, here comes Daniel Ricciardo on Nico Rosberg. Ricciardo takes the lead in Canada. Unbelievable.
It was the first time I'd ever led a race. I was like, holy shit, just make sure things still work. And I was like, I believe I'm good for it, but you just don't know till you're in that position. But I remember getting through turn 1 and 2, everything was cool. I was like, all right, just stay calm and then get it done.
Daniel Ricciardo becomes a new winner in Formula One. The team rush out to applaud him home. Mercedes fail, Red Bull pick up the pieces.
It's definitely, of course, it's overwhelming and it's so much to take in. But it was kind of everything I hoped it would be.
A champagne moment to end all champagne moments for the young man from Perth, 24 years of age, and a new winner in Formula One.
However, this was just the beginning.
It's lights out and away we go. Now Ricciardo's got the inside line, and down into turn 3, Lewis Hamilton's brave defence of second place comes to an end. And he's now looking at Fernando Alonso, and down the inside goes Daniel Ricciardo, and Ricciardo once more leads this Hungarian Grand Prix. Daniel Ricciardo now comes to take the checkered flag and win for a second time in Formula One. Daniel Ricciardo wins the Hungarian Grand Prix.
I don't think anyone's smile could be bigger than Daniel Ricciardo's at the moment.
And he did it again.
What a Belgian Grand Prix this has been. Mercedes locked out the front row. Daniel Ricciardo, though, is going to take the checkered flag. It's Red Bull's 50th win in Formula One. It's Ricciardo's 3rd win in 6 races. He wins the Belgian Grand Prix.
2014 was a breakout year for Ricciardo. As a rookie, he finished 3rd in the championship and beat his teammate, 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel.
An awesome year. It's I think exceeded not only my own but everyone else's expectations.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Ricciardo's made Vettel look a little bit ordinary this year, which is an extraordinary thing to say.
Daniel was now clearly the team's top driver, and he earned it. But in 2016, everything changed.
Verstappen, from the beginning on, was something special.
He's sensational talent. I mean, you guys have seen that. You've seen, what he's capable of at such a young age.
Well, of course, I was very happy, a bit shocked as well. I didn't expect that, but yeah, I'm very happy with this opportunity, of course.
Let's talk Max Verstappen. Would you agree that he is the most challenging teammate in Formula One? Let's be honest, the kid's a nightmare.
Is that sick, the Red Bull? Oh,
yes, he's puncture.
Left rear puncture.
I got a puncture or something. Left rear is really weird.
For the second time this season, after he's been leading a race, Daniel Ricciardo gets a puncture.
Barcelona, I don't know if I'm allowed to use the word shafted, but I think you got a bit shafted by your team there. And the little young kid from the block got benefited with strategy, so Verstappen got his first win.
And this afternoon at the Circuit de Catalunya, the sun is out, the smiles will be out. At 18 years and 227 days old, Max Verstappen wins a Formula One Grand Prix and is the youngest driver ever to win.
Danny, talk me through that race. Must be hard to see your teammate up there on the podium. Was it there for you? Had there been a two-stop strategy on the cards for you?
I don't think it's hard to see, Max on the podium. It's hard for me to not be on the podium. That's the biggest disappointment today. Normally the guy in the lead gets the better strategy. It didn't work out today.
The tension between Max and Ricciardo kept building, and in 2018, it exploded when they went head-to-head.
The two Red Bulls going for it, diving down the inside. Ricciardo fends off Max Verstappen. Verstappen's looking down the inside. Ricciardo has to back off and let him through. Otherwise, those two are coming together. That's a brilliant move from Verstappen.
You shouldn't clash with your teammate, but yeah, we both were young and hungry, and egos and everything gets in the way, and it's so when you're battling like that, it can happen, and it did.
Max Verstappen struggling, Ricciardo's passing him, Sergei Sorokin's passing Lance Stroll as well into turn one, and the two Red Bulls might have touched there as well. Verstappen aggressively defending against his teammate. There's no team orders down at Red Bull today.
Max and I were battling, and as far as teammates go, we're battling too hard, and I was surprised that the team didn't kind of put a stop to it.
Ricciardo!
I think he's got it done this time, hasn't he? He's got to yield.
He's got to yield, but he didn't yield that much, and he's now going to come back at Ricciardo again. He's going to try down the inside. Max Verstappen, Ricciardo has to give him space. It's great racing, but if you're Christian Horner, you are not enjoying this for 1 second.
I felt like I was giving enough room, but a lot of the time, he was kind of coming up into me and banging wheels.
And what is happening with Verstappen and Ricciardo is Ricciardo getting quicker. He is getting quicker. He's closing up on Verstappen. He's alongside Verstappen. Is he going to make the move stick this time around? He locks up, but he does make the corner. That's a super move once more from Daniel Ricciardo there. And this time he's got it done early enough so that Verstappen can't fight him back.
So I finally got past him. Then they pitted me first, but it was like one of the only tracks in the year where pitting first is not strong. So naturally, he pits after, comes out back in front of me.
Sucks.
And I'm like, guys, we're going to have the same scenario again.
Ricciardo desperate to get past Max Verstappen. They have crashed. They've gone into each other. Daniel Ricciardo late braking, couldn't stop in time.
I was not surprised. So when I went for it, there was space, and then he's made that second move in, and I'm like, I was like, that space is now gone. And then there was no way for me to pull out of it. So I was just angry. I guess at that initial moment, I really didn't feel sorry for anyone. I just felt anger, how it was kind of all managed, I guess.
Racing accidents happen. We're not apportioning any blame one way or the other to either of the two drivers, but they drive for a team.
Yeah, of course, I felt sorry for the team and for the people that spent hours putting those parts together and making them perfect, and we've just gone and disintegrated them.
Ricciardo hit rock bottom. After the crash, the team focused more on Max, and with his contract ending in 2018, he needed a way out, and fast.
Monaco is that's like our crown jewel, because it's a staple, and to win that, it's so prestigious. And I would say when you think of F1, you think of the Monaco Grand Prix, the yachts, the celebrities, it's everything. It's our Super Bowl of Formula One.
The story of the weekend so far, Daniel Ricciardo in the Red Bull has dominated the whole weekend. Quickest in every qualifying session.
Daniel Ricciardo looking for his second career pole and crosses the line now to go into the 110s. What a lap from Daniel Ricciardo, and for the second time on the streets of Monte Carlo, Daniel Ricciardo's hit the jackpot and he'll start on pole.
50% done. Let's finish this tomorrow.
The second biggest story is teammate Verstappen starting last after a crash this morning.
Daniel's been on it all weekend. He's been quickest in every session. He's done an amazing job. But we should have had two cars up there, and it's frustrating with such a fast car not to have both cars on the front row of the grid.
Max, how you doing this morning?
Not so good.
He was ready for the race, but a shadow from last year still hung over him. The win in Monaco that was snatched away.
The weekend was dominant.
The race is underway. So Daniel Ricciardo leads, and 3.3 seconds the gap between Daniel Ricciardo and Nico Rosberg first and second.
First phase of the race, I was actually doing quite well, holding my own, and then pit stop, tyres weren't ready.
They haven't got the tyres ready. The tyres aren't ready. Ricciardo is sat there waiting. Did he make the call? Did the team make the call?
And that's when Lewis got the lead.
Hamilton now leads after a pit stop that saw Daniel Ricciardo sat stranded waiting for his tyres. And it's Lewis Hamilton who wins for the first time in 2016 and wins in Monaco for the second time.
Don't know. And right now I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anything. I want to get out of here, to be honest. This one hurts a lot.
Welcome along then after all the celebrations. It's race time in Monaco. Daniel Ricciardo starts on pole, could take the win. He deserves it the way he's driving, but it's never a straightforward afternoon here, is it? It's a tense moment as the lights go on. It's lights out and away we go.
Perfect start from Ricciardo, moved over just to check the Ferrari up a little bit and then took his position nicely in the braking zone.
Okay, I got the start, I was relieved. And then, I think lap 28 of 78, I remember going through like the Casino Square part, and I got back on throttle, and the engine sounded different.
Daniel Ricciardo slowing down dramatically.
I see trouble brewing.
Losing power.
This could totally change the race.
Just keep it focused, mate. Keep it focused. Yeah, I got no power though. Will it get better? Negative, Daniel, negative.
I literally just wanted to close my eyes and just be like, I'm done with this shit.
How long can Daniel Ricciardo keep Sebastian Vettel behind him if he has got power issues?
He's lost about 25% of the power of the engine.
As soon as this issue happened during the race in 2018, then you start thinking like silly stuff, but am I destined to never freaking win this race? Like, why are there these forces against me?
You've got a feel for him in that cockpit at the moment. His nerves are going to be shredded to pieces. Come the checkered flag here.
For a few laps, I was pretty negative and pretty down, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to keep Seb behind me.
But the longer I stayed in front of him and held the lead, then the more my confidence came back and my belief that the car was going to make it.
There are 3 laps to go. Daniel, you're doing a really good job, mate.
Ricciardo is starting to smile just that little bit more now as Ricciardo starts his final lap.
And I remember getting to that point, I was like, no one's taking this.
Once upon a time he had the win taken away from him through no fault of his own. Today in Monte Carlo, it's redemption day for Daniel Ricciardo. He wins the Monaco Grand Prix.
Unbelievable. You have done an amazing job today.
Winning Monaco, like, I've never felt a high like that, and I've never been surrounded by so many people like feeding off my high, so that's hard to turn down.
The great irony is he doesn't have a contract for next year. He's got contracts around and about, but does he stay in Verstappen's home? Does he go to Vettel's home? Does he go to Hamilton's home? Where does he go to? He's certainly making a strong case.
In percentage terms, how confident are you of keeping him?
We're very, very happy with Daniel. He does a great job in the team. He's a popular member in the team, and there's a desire for us to retain him for next year.
Daniel Ricciardo has joined Renault.
Everybody expected him to re-sign for the Red Bull team, including those at Red Bull. Something's clearly happened to convince Ricciardo that he should move.
Like, I joined there after they'd won 4 world titles in a row. So like, they were the team at the time to be with, and they were the team that was, if I was good enough, was going to give me my first world title. 5 years there. Yeah, we got podiums, won races, but we never ever got close to fighting for a world title. And, you know, in a team, obviously you compare yourself to your teammate, and I wasn't always convinced that I was being valued as much as I guess I valued myself.
But Christian says at some point during it that you left because you're running from a fight with Max.
It wasn't about Max. I understand how some people might think that, but I'll just say they're wrong.
Ricciardo made his choice, and now he must show the world he was right.
It's lights out and away we go. It's there, Daniel Ricciardo losing his front wing going into turn 1.
So there's a Renault front wing missing. They didn't even get past the end of the pit lane.
Daniel Ricciardo has had an absolute shocker in his home Grand Prix.
So that's come off completely. A firm, yeah, that's come off completely. Boxing the slap, boxing the slap. Understood.
As they retire from this race for the man from Perth, and that is a very, very disappointing end to one of his happiest weekends of the season.
My first race with Renault, and it didn't work out.
Hamilton finishes runner-up in Australia, and Max Verstappen, for the first time ever, will stand on the podium.
For sure I'm frustrated this week because, again, it's like everyone expects so much, but the reality is I've got to show up on Sunday, and when the race is over in 5 seconds, whether it's bad luck or not.
The start was rough, but he stayed hopeful. Sadly, things only got worse.
Ball for Daniel Ricciardo.
Oh, that's nasty. That's a big failure.
Oh,
that's one engine down.
That is not looking good for Renault in the slightest.
Daniel Ricciardo's retired for a second time this season.
Ricciardo just locked it up and took him with him as well.
Ricciardo reversed into him. Oh dear.
Are you okay? I didn't see it.
Fucking kills nice. I'm gonna box.
Okay, understood.
Ricciardo, I think, is going to have to retire from the race. Yeah, he's shut off.
Oh dear.
Shut off.
The rest of the season wasn't any better, mostly finishing outside the points. His only good results were 6th in America and Brazil, and 4th in Italy.
This year, we haven't had great results all the time, and we've had a lot of ups and downs again, but this year has fueled me more than anything to get back to the podiums, you know, feel that success and get me drink out of my shoe again. That's really what I want from it.
China has identified the cause of the mysterious new virus. Coronavirus.
This is a rapidly emerging situation where there is not a cause for alarm.
We now have a name for the disease, COVID-19.
More than 3 billion people in almost 70 countries and territories have been asked to stay at home.
Now, it may not be the most important thing right now, but the crisis has obviously had a huge impact on sport. Well, Formula One, possibly the most commercial sport in the world, has cancelled the first 8 races.
During the pandemic, we hadn't had any races yet because the season got postponed, yet everyone was still in contract mode and everyone was still kind of moving around. So I kind of felt like if I didn't make the move then, I probably would have missed out. And, you know, I confirmed to myself that McLaren was the place that I wanted to be and I felt was best for me.
Before the 2020 season even started, Ricciardo decided to join McLaren. It turned out to be his biggest mistake, especially since Renault was starting to do well.
Ricciardo's putting Lando Norris under pressure. He's got that move absolutely done.
Nice shot, mate. Keep pushing. 3 laps to go.
Carlos Sainz ahead of Daniel Ricciardo.
Ricciardo 0.9.
As Daniel Ricciardo gets past Carlos Sainz. Daniel Ricciardo finishes 4th place for Renault. This is by far Renault's best performance since winning here in 2006.
It's that a podium, boys? Is that a podium?
That's a podium. Yeah, nice shot, mate. Mega, man, mega.
Oh. Wow.
It's a podium, Daniel. Thank you.
Feels good. Feels good.
Daniel Ricciardo gives Renault their first podium since Malaysia in 2011, his first podium since Monaco in 2018.
It honestly feels like the first podium all over again. It's like that really happy shock.
Things were finally starting to click for Daniel and Renault.
Daniel Ricciardo comes home to take third.
Holy mac and cheese balls. That's another podium.
Awesome, mate. Awesome.
And he's delivered his second podium of the season as well. They are rightly celebrating.
But there's no point in talking about spilled tea, as some things are inevitable.
2021, I'm looking forward to another fresh start challenge. I'll be racing for McLaren, such an iconic team in Formula One for so many years, and a team I've always respected and looked up to. So looking forward to that and getting closer to the world title.
It's lights out and away we go. Lando Norris has got ahead of his teammate Daniel Ricciardo. Lando Norris, great drive from him. Fourth for McLaren.
That is P4. Well done. Great job. All right, nice job. Were the fireworks for me? They can be. I have a lot more pace in me.
Essentially, I'd like to get past my teammate, please. Would you mind telling him to move over?
Yeah.
Daniel, we want to swap positions. We need to see Lando's pace in clear out.
Here he goes, letting us through on the way up to Piratella. So, good team play.
P3. Great job, mate. Well done. P3.
Daniel, well done, mate. P6. Okay. Keep at it.
Certainly, not a result I feel good about at all.
McLaren were hoping to see two cars together on the track around the streets of Monaco, but not like this. Norris laps Ricciardo.
Ooh, that hurt. Yeah.
Let's go, man! Lando Norris comes home to take third.
Everyone was wondering what happened to Daniel Ricciardo.
I'm like my worst critic. No one's going to be harder on me than me. And I'd kept faith or confidence in myself that I would turn it around at some point.
Sadly, it never came. Despite giving it his all, he couldn't turn things around. And early in his second season, it all fell apart.
Hey everyone, wanted to share some news. It's not great, it's bittersweet for sure, but I think it's best you hear it from me. 2022 will be my last year with McLaren. Just obviously we put in a lot of effort on both sides, but just hasn't worked the way we wanted. So that's that. I think for the future, what lies ahead, I'm not sure yet. But we'll see.
News broke yesterday that you're going to be leaving McLaren at the end of this season. How did it happen, and how do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's obviously it's not the result we wanted. In terms of when I joined the team, and the outcome wasn't desired. As a collective though, we didn't really get it right. Just too many kind of weekends. It was obviously just a bit of a struggle. So that was pretty much how the kind of decision came about. I still know I can do it and believe it's still there in me, that I would hate for this to be the way it ends.
After 12 years in F1, for the first time, Daniel had no seat for the next season.
After everything that happened last year, I intentionally wanted to just, let's say, take some time off. So I really made a point to completely switch off. I did nothing other than just enjoy myself for 2 months, really. I also just kind of needed that for like just headspace and just to just switch off.
But the racer and Ricciardo couldn't stay still for long. Soon, he started to feel something was missing.
But then I got to like February and I was like, all right, I've kind of chilled enough. I kind of want to do something again.
Now he's going back to where it all started, Red Bull, as a third driver.
I really did feel like I was home again. And even though I wasn't a race driver or anything, there was just a lot that was going on, which was giving me, those good feelings back.
Although he'd rejoined Red Bull as their third driver for 2023, I did wonder just for a moment if we'd ever see the Honey Badger back in the cockpit of a Grand Prix car again. I didn't have to wonder for long. After showcasing some seriously impressive speed in the Red Bull RB19 at a Silverstone test session in July, Daniel immediately replaced Nick de Vries at AlphaTauri.
Ricciardo was back where he belonged, in the driver's seat. But for him, this was just the beginning. His real goal was a seat at Red Bull.
Recently you said, the dream, of course, is to get back to the Red Bull team.
To be honest, just to finish my career there. Not saying that next year would be the last or anything like that, but it would be a nice way to kind of, go, I guess, full circle.
He was grateful for a second chance to chase his biggest dream, becoming a Formula One world champion.
My ultimate goal in life is to be a Formula One world champion.
But some things are meant to be.
It's lights out and away we go! Behind the Red Bulls as Daniel Ricciardo takes a little slide.
So Daniel, P16.
That's obviously frustrating.
Just squeeze me. Nowhere to go.
Unfortunately a short Sunday. I got back into the sport and I felt like I was in such a good place. I'd kind of just put together all this momentum and it was then stopped.
And Daniel Ricciardo, sadly for him, might be ending his Formula One exploits.
Okay, obviously we tried and nothing happened out there, so it didn't work out.
Understood. Well, thank you guys. Well, and thank you there to Daniel, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of emotions because look, I'm aware it could be it, and the cockpit is something that I got very very used to for many years, and just wanted to savor the moment.
Breaking news is that Formula One's Daniel Ricciardo has been dropped by the RB team.
Liam Lawson, the 22-year-old New Zealander, will replace him. Almost certainly that is the end of his Formula One career.
I would have loved to see him used it as a springboard to get back to where he was to have completed the story, but it wasn't to be. And he knows in his heart he gave it his best shot, and he's had a great career, he's had a great run, but unfortunately the next chapter wasn't to be.
If I really pour everything into it and I deep down know and believe that I put everything I could and all my talent, then I can't really be mad because I'm also trying to be the best in the world, and maybe there is one other person that's better, and if so, then that's life. So if my career ended today, am I disappointed I don't have a world title? Yes, but could I have actually done anything to change that over that 10 years? Probably not. So c'est la vie.